everyone, I am Cassandra Thompson, your career consultant and speaker, and today we are talking about what I think is actually the most important part of all interviews, the thank you note. In a world where everyone feels taken for granted, a thank you note can put you at the top of the pile for who to hire for a job. Plus, excuse me as my nose itches, it can totally set you apart for a lot of other scenarios. So today we are going to cover why thank you notes are so important, a really great formula for how to write one quickly, and I'm going to give you a bonus tip to make sure your thank you note looks awesome every time. So for this video, we are going to be focusing mainly on thank you notes for interviewing for jobs and for informational interviews, but a lot of the rules apply to any thank you note you need to write. So keep watching. First, before anything else, a question I get asked a lot is handwritten or emailed? And here's my advice and what I've heard from recruiters. For an interview, email. For anything else in life, I want a handwritten thank you note on a thank you note card. So go to that section at Target or Walmart or a Hallmark store, if you still have those near you, and get a set of very nice standard thank you notes. But for the interview, if you heard me at the beginning, it needs to be for the job interview, it needs to be an email. Here's why. You want that to get to them as quickly as possible. You don't know where the person interviewing you is headed afterwards. They might be on a red eye across the country, won't be back until next week, and they have to make the decision on who they hire while they're gone. If you handwrite one, they're going to come back to it, but they've hired the person who emailed them. So for interviews, always email. And please, I'm just throwing this in there, don't be the person who interviews and then at the end I've heard of people doing this, whips out thank you notes at receptions like, oh, and can you give this to them? How insincere is that? You wrote your thank you note before you had anything to talk about for the interview. So that's just like a big no. All right, so why thank you notes are important. Thank you notes are something that recruiters look for. They want to see that you are excited and energized and really want this job, that you will go the extra mile. There's like crazy stats out there that 3 out of 4 people know they should write a thank you note. 1 out of 4 people does it because it's so simple and people think, oh, everyone's doing this, so I'm not going to be set apart. I talk to recruiters all the time who say they never get thank you notes. In fact, I know multiple recruiters who actually, the few and far between thank you notes they get, they keep them and post them on their wall. I actually post thank you notes I get on my wall too, because they are that rare. So it sounds simple. You think everyone's doing it, but I promise you they are not. In fact, I'm gonna guess 3 out of 4 people who watch this video won't even end up making a thank you. So be the 1 out of 4 that does, and the job could be yours. The formula for a thank you note is so simple. You are going to say, dear, name of person, and yes, please use dear, use salutations. Then you are going to actually say thank you. Be surprised. Say, thank you so much for interviewing me today or for chatting with me about this position. Then you are going to name something personal to your conversation. So that could be highlighting something from the job that sounds really interesting to you that they told you about that day. Or let's say if it's an informational interview, something you learned about the company or something personal that you had in common. So it could be anything like, oh, I'm so glad I found somebody else who's as obsessed with The Crown as I am. Or please let me know when you finish Stranger Things season 2. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. It can be light. It can be fun. So anything personal to your conversation. Then you are going to reiterate your thanks again. As I said before, thank you so much. I really appreciated talking with you. And then if it's for an informational interview or job description, I really want you to put in something that shows you want to further this conversation. So and this is not rocket science, I look forward to hearing from you. If it's an informational interview, let's talk again soon, or keep me posted on blah, blah, blah thing you talked about. And then all you do is say sincerely and your name. Guys, that's it. So let me go through those a little more basically. Name, say thank you, say something personal, reiterate your thanks, and move the conversation forward sincerely. I actually do a workshop where I teach this and I make people write a thank you note in the room. It takes 4 minutes. I have learned this. 4 minutes. So think about it this way. 4 minutes can stand between you and the job. Okay, so my bonus tip, if you are writing a thank you note on an actual note card, which for informational interviews you should do, if someone helps you out with something, helps you on a project, or you ask somebody for a piece of advice, write them a thank you note. But to make it look good, it needs no mistakes on it, no spelling errors, no grammatical errors, nothing crossed out, no writing being big at the top and then cramming in the corner. So how do you make that happen? You take a blank piece of paper, you take your thank you note, you put it here, and you trace the size of it. And now you are going to write your thank you note here first. If it doesn't fit, trace it again. Do it again until you can get it all on one perfectly centered note. Is everything spelled correctly? Are there any grammatical errors? You can check it here before wasting a note card. Once you've done that, just copy, like you were in grade school, what you said onto that actual note, and it'll look beautiful and perfect every time. I hope now you feel more confident and understand how beneficial and great thank you notes can be in your career. Okay, so one little added bonus for you. If you would like to make this even simpler than the formula, I have a link below for a template for you to kind of insert some things and make a beautiful, perfect thank you note every time. So if you would like that template, check the description box below. All right, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.